You've heard of people swallowing strange things. There's actually a condition called pica, in which people have an abnormal craving to eat inedible objects. This includes things like forks, spoons, knives, and more. But when doctors cut in these upcoming people, they find some things that are far more peculiar than those. From literal plants sprouting inside people to our number one most disturbing case, let's get started. Number 10. A pea plant. Kicking off our list, meet Ron Svedin, aka the man who had a literal pea plant growing inside his lung. When he started coughing uncontrollably, his wife rushed to call an ambulance. The doctors, of course, jumped to the conclusion that it was a tumor as the x-rays showed a mass growing inside his lung. However, when it was time to perform a surgery to remove the tumor, the doctors instead found something that couldn't have been any more different. A pea plant was growing inside his lung. And the weird thing is, well, the weirder thing about this is that they haven't been able to figure out a possible medical explanation as to how or why this happened. If you're curious about how Ron Svedin is doing, then you can rest assured that he continued to live a normal life. And get this, he wasn't deterred from eating peas. Number 9. A dandelion growing from an ear. Listen to this strange case. The mother of Ron, a 16-month-old baby girl, took her daughter to the hospital after suffering from an earache that made her cry out in pain. The mother saw something in her baby's ear, so she tried and failed to take it out. Upon inspection, the doctors were able to identify the object. It was a flowering dandelion that was growing inside Ron's ear canal. It was 2 centimeters long and it required surgery to be removed, which put the 16-month-old infant at risk of internal bleeding. The growth was removed and Ron stopped having earaches. But believe it or not, this isn't the first time something has been found growing inside the human ear canal. But it is the first time a dandelion was found. It's thought that the humid and warm conditions of the girl's ear canal provided the perfect environment for the flower to flourish. Number 8. Guinea worm's disease. Next up is not just one unique case of something growing in someone's body, but an actual disease. According to the WHO, guinea worm disease, also known as Dracunculus medinensis, is a relatively common disease in parts of the world where clean drinking water isn't available. The people who drank the unclean water can be infected with the larvae of the guinea worm, and strangely and painfully enough, they can exhibit no symptoms whatsoever for as long as a year. These worms can grow up to 1 meter long, and they're able to reproduce and cause painful blisters, especially in the area of your lower leg. These blisters are a way for the worms to leave the host's body, but if you're squeamish, get ready for this next part. The worm has to be pulled off the blister, which is agonizingly painful. Number 7. A tumor with teeth. Nicole Ellington's pregnancy was relatively normal until she gave birth to a massive teratoma tumor before she gave birth to her actual baby. Teratoma is a type of tumor that is made of several types of tissues like bone, hair, and muscle. This is the first recorded case in history that a teratoma tumor was found growing during the pregnancy period alongside the fetus's development. And in Nicole Ellington's case, the teratoma was something akin to a human skull with actual teeth. In just 2 hours, the doctors were able to save both the mother and daughter's lives, and they figured out that the hormones that are produced to aid pregnancy triggered the growth of the tumor. Shockingly and disturbingly enough, a case similar to this happened before in Portugal 1600 years ago. Archaeologists found the body of a woman who had an ovarian tumor that had been growing inside of her pelvis. By the time of her death, the tumor had grown 4 deformed and jagged teeth. It's believed that it may have even killed her by pushing her internal organs out of place, and she probably would have been able to feel the teeth pressing up against her insides. Number 6. A potato sprout. Not straying too far off our previous point, at number 6 is another shudder-inducing case of something growing inside someone. A 22-year-old woman who chose to stay anonymous, you'll get why in a second, went to the hospital with complaints of severe abdominal pains. On the first examination, the doctors had difficulties determining what exactly was wrong with her. A potato sprouting inside her body was what was wrong with her. A potato sprouting in her vagina was the root of her severe pains. Thankfully, the doctors were able to safely remove the potato, and the woman confessed that she read online that inserting a potato inside her vagina was a successful contraception method. Number 5. Hair out of an eyeball. Since birth, a 19-year-old man in Iran had a mass on his eyeball. While it had been there for as long as he could remember, there was a new disturbing development. In the past year, it was growing and growing, and it was growing hair. A line of what looked like scattered eyelashes were growing straight out of his eyeball. and it wasn't without damage. The man couldn't see past the growth or the hair, and creepily enough, every time he blinked, he could feel the hairs tickling his inner eyelid. Number 4. Parasitic tapeworm. Coming in at number 4 is a case of Rosemary Alvarez, who went to the emergency room after experiencing blurred vision and unusual numbness in her arm. A brain scan revealed to the neurosurgeons handling her case a tumor in her brainstem. However, during the surgery to remove what they thought was a tumor, the doctors were beyond shocked, or rather traumatized, to find a parasitic tapeworm, just wiggling around in her brain. The doctors concluded that the only way the tapeworm could have grown in her brain is if she consumed food contaminated with feces that carried the parasitic worm egg. Number 3. Guava sprout. Everyone dreads going to the dentist. Now imagine suffering from a toothache, and when finally caving in and going to seek the dentist's help, you found out that what you and the doctor suspected to be tooth decay turned out to be a legit guava sprout growing inside your tooth. Yikes. It also hurt. The dentist ended up removing the tooth altogether and nipped the plant from further growing inside the man's mouth. Number 2. Giant hairball. This is just getting more disturbing. At number 2, an 18-year-old woman was vomiting after every meal, causing her to lose over 18 kilograms in just 5 months. Also, during those months, the girl developed a painful and swollen abdomen. When she did a scan, her stomach showed a large mass. However, during the surgery, a camera lowered down her esophagus showed something entirely different. That large mass was a massive hairball that was filling up the girl's entire stomach. The doctor safely removed the mass of curly black hair. Later on, the girl confessed that she'd been eating her own hair for years. After the surgery, she was referred to a trained psychologist and was diagnosed with what's known as Rapunzel syndrome. Number 1. A twin. We saved the most bizarre case of something growing in a person's body for last. At number 1, we have the utterly unique case of Sanju Bhagat, a Mumbai farmer who experienced his stomach gradually growing more and more, so much that Sanju's stomach began to resemble a pregnant woman's stomach. Sanju also experienced breathing difficulties. In 1999, the mystery of Sanju's growing stomach was solved. It wasn't overeating, a tumor, or a mysterious disease. After being transported to Tata Memorial Hospital in Mumbai, doctors began to perform a surgery to remove what they thought was a tumor, but what they actually found was Sanju's twin in his stomach. It turned out that Sanju was carrying his mutilated twin's corpse in his stomach all his life. This actually has a name, and it's fetus in fetu, which is an abnormal and rare case in which a fetus is trapped inside the body of their twin during their development. And that's a wrap on all the things found growing inside people. Were you shocked at these things? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. And before you go, if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to Weeklypedia and click that notification bell to be alerted whenever we upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.